Hey, howdy, hey, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Nick&Nash podcast. As always, I'm your host, Matt Nash, and with me, as always, is my co host, Nick Calvacca. And today, we're joined by a very special guest, Jordan Pouncey from the University of Florida. Jordan, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a beautiful day here in Gainesville, so it's always a good day for me.
I can imagine. I always love that Florida weather. You know, you hear all these crazy stories coming out of Florida. Whenever you go down, you never see them. It's just always the beautiful weather. You know, is Gainesville on the ocean? I don't remember.
We're about kind of I think it's like an hour each way to the East Coast and the West Coast.
Hey,
I don't
hey.
know. I've never been to the beach from here. Like I'm from Orlando, so I only live like 45, 50 minutes from the beach.
Yeah, well,
Gotcha.
doesn't matter. You're still close enough. You still smell it in the air sometimes. All right, well, that's awesome. So you are a Barstool athlete, correct?
Correct.
So you are taking advantage currently of the new NIL rules, right? What was your initial reaction when you saw that the NCAA passed these NIL rules?
Uh, my initial thought was it's about damn time. Like, uh,
I agree.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guys that that graduated before me and that had bigger brands than I have that could have made probably millions off of their own brand. But I mean, luckily I'm going into my fifth year and I have two more football seasons to kind of capitalize off of this. So I've been trying to take advantage of it, especially like with Barstool and with a College Weekly. So it's been pretty cool. It's an interesting process.
Yeah, we couldn't be
Now,
happier for the opportunity that has been afforded by these rules. You know, we love to see these guys, like y'all come out here and actually get to make money off of you. Like now you could be like, hey yo, I got a poster with my face on it. Who wants it? And somebody could buy it. You can keep that money. Like I just think
But
that's
you
the
know,
coolest thing.
yeah,
Jordan, if you don't mind me asking, was Barstool the first kind of agency to reach out, or did you reach out to them first? Did you reach out to Dave Portnoy? How did it kind of all come together for you?
well, uh, the first kind of like deal, I guess you could say, was College Weekly, and then that was on like July 1st or 2nd, and then literally like that was in the afternoon, and then that night is when I saw somebody sent me the Dave Portnoy video of him talking about the Barstool athlete, and so that for the way it works for a Barstool athlete, you just go to the Barstool athlete Instagram page, and then you DM them, and then they send you like an email and stuff, and then they verify like that you're actually an athlete, and then you kind of get brought on, and
Awesome.
yeah, there's like merch and stuff that they're sending us. It's all like made to order. So like mine's in the process of being made right now. I should have it within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
That's
Cool,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
So let's move aside from that and let's talk about you and your story. So take us way back to high school and coming out during the recruiting process, coming out of high school, kind of talking to different schools, deciding where you want to go. We obviously will get to it. We see you're a transfer student from the University of Texas, so just walk us through the whole thing and tell us about it.
Okay. Uh, well,
I'm
from
sure it's a long list of
I'm from Winter Park, Florida. It's like a suburb of Orlando. So I grew up there. Played Pop Warner there. Went to middle school there. But then when I going into my ninth grade year, one of my dad's friends, he his brother was starting up a football program at like a very good private school outside of Orlando called Montverde Academy,
Okay.
and that's where Ben Simmons went, D'Angelo Russell went, Joel Embiid went there. So actually, funny story. So Montverde Academy, it's a boarding school, and so I actually going into eighth grade, I moved away from home.
Oh wow.
Was playing football at Montverde Academy, living in dorms,
It's
And
a quick way to grow up.
yeah, I grew up very fast. And actually, funny story, right across the hall from me, I think it was my sophomore year, right across the hall, Ben Simmons was in the room right across the hall from me. So it was like the
Wow.
the craziest experience. And I had a pretty interesting time there. There was students from like 100 different countries. I took Chinese for 2 years. It was like a cultural like shock for me because like, and I don't know if you know anything about Winter Park, but Winter Park, it's very uh, kind of, everybody's kind of the same. So like going to
Okay.
an international school, I was like shocked. I had my first roommate was from uh, Italy, and then my second roommate, he came from Brazil, didn't speak a lick of English, so we had to teach him English in the dorms as well as
Wow.
classes. He now plays in the MLS for the San Jose Earthquakes, actually.
Oh
Really?
wow.
Yeah. So
So your school was just producing athletes left and right.
yes, every year, like there's a soccer academy and a basketball academy, but you know, going into my sophomore year, that was kind of like that was the third year of the program, and it was like make or break. And I guess we broke. We played IMG, and we were trying to build like a dynasty, and I guess our headmaster just didn't. It wasn't working for him, so they nixed the football program, and then I transferred back home to Winter Park in the middle of my 10th grade year, and I went through that spring at Winter Park, and that was when I got my first offer from UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
Um, and then let's see. Then that summer of my 10th, like after my 10th grade year, we went to like all these camps and stuff. And then going into that my junior season, I was really excited. I was excited to be back home playing for the Wildcats. You know, playing for Winter Park. That was like my dream growing up, was playing for the Wildcats. So
Absolutely.
we didn't have, an ideal season my junior year, but you know that season I myself did very well. I was able, that spring of my junior year, was able to accumulate like probably like 40 plus offers, uh, and then the summer going into my senior year, I committed to Notre Dame in June.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was committed my whole senior season. I was committed to Notre Dame, and then
Okay. So that see, I didn't even have that in my notes. Continue. I'm sorry.
so that was the 2016. That was the year that they, you know, pissed down their leg against Texas and went 4-8. So I knew
So
that
that was your decision to say, maybe I'm gonna keep looking.
yeah, and I knew at by that time I had figured out that coach turnover was like, it was a very high rate. So I knew that my position coach was probably not going to be there by the time that I got there, and my area recruiter was not going to be there by the time I got there, and Coach Kelly might not be there by the time that I got there. So in December of my senior year, after the season, um, I called my area recruiter and I was telling him that I was decommitting. And then like later that day, I got offered by Miami and Texas. And then like those were two of my dream schools growing up, because my mom is from South Florida and she grew up a Hurricanes fan. And
Hmm.
then like the year that Vince Young and the Longhorns won the national championship, that was my first year playing football. So like I had like a special connection with that.
Yeah. It had to
And
be hard for you not to choose the Florida school.
yeah, I'll get into that in a second. So uh, I was, basically like a free agent going into January, which like before the early signing period, before they did all that. Like we January was like a heavy time for like last minute official visits. So in January, I took, three peat visits. I went the first weekend, second weekend, and third weekend of January, and then that fourth. Like I got, I took, I went to Miami the first weekend, Texas the second weekend, and then Tennessee the third weekend. I got
Okay.
back from Tennessee on Sunday, had to sign on Wednesday.
Oh man.
Mm.
Yeah. So like the first weekend we went to Miami, it was like everything I expected it to be. Like it was a lot of fun. I had gone to games like earlier in the season and stuff, but I had never like actually been to the campus and been around the players.
Gotcha.
And that was when Coach Rick was there, Mark Rick. Uh,
He had some
that-
good seasons with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I felt like it wouldn't have been the place for me. So, it was hard to say no because I had grew up liking them so much. But in retrospect, it just made sense for me not to go there.
So you were a Miami Hurricane fan.
Growing up, yes,
Okay.
because of my mom.
Mhm.
And
Gotcha.
then that second weekend went to Texas, and I fell in love with Austin. I don't know if you've ever been to Austin, but Austin is like one of the most fun cities in America. So I was like, I really like it here. And I told Coach Herman and my position coach, I was like, I think I want to commit. I have a visit set up with Tennessee next weekend, and I can't back out on them. Tennessee had been recruiting me from like my freshman or sophomore year, and I had built like a really strong relationship with those coaches. So I just wanted to go. I didn't want to like step on anybody's toes, and so I went. Me and my dad went up to Tennessee that third weekend, and I had a blast. Marquez Callaway hosted me, which was really cool. He plays for the Saints now, so that was pretty cool. And
Yeah. I hear you. Then it's really hard to say no.
yeah, I felt special when Coach Butch Jones he took me and my dad on top of the press box, and we're literally looking over the whole state of Tennessee. Like it was like a surreal moment.
That sounds
Uh,
cool. That sounds really cool. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That was a really cool moment. But um, you know, ended up, came back that Sunday. Signed on Wednesday to Texas. I had like a commitment video. I played it in like front of. We had like a signing day at my school.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty funny because all the athletes that sign for like this in the spring, we all sit at one table, like a long table, and like I sat at the front, like at the top of the table, and like in front of me, there's like three news cameras and all this stuff, and then like everybody else has like their parents in front of them.
Hey,
It,
but you know what? That's a moment where I'm sure till this day, that was probably your I made it moment, or one of them at
It's
least.
chills right there.
Yeah.
yeah, it was such a surreal moment because my brother was a freshman, so like we like had that moment together, and then it was really funny because I guess a lot of people thought that I was gonna pick Miami, and then like when I like rolled out of it, you can look it up on you. It's
I'm going to.
it's so corny. Like I like roll out of bed with a Texas jacket on, and I'm like, hook 'em horns, here I come, Texas, here I come, and like everybody like gasped. It was the craziest.
Now, forget the kids in high school. How long did it take for your mom to speak to you again?
No, she knew. She knew. Like she wanted me to go to Texas. Like she was
Okay.
like, I think she thought it was the best place for me, and like as a collective family, we thought it was the best place for me. So,
I hear it was a fit. It was a
Yeah.
fit.
yeah. So ended up, signing with Texas. I enrolled in like early June, late May. And spent 2.5 years there. Won a Texas Bowl, won a Sugar Bowl, and then, halfway through my junior year, I kind of wasn't in like the best place, and was thinking about just really hanging up the cleats. But ended up, I had a contact here at Florida, and was like, what do we got to do to make this happen? And
Fresh start. Yeah.
me
Well,
and
that's what I was.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Continue. Sorry.
Me and my brother committed, took a visit, committed, and the rest is, I guess, history right now in the making.
Yeah, well, that's
Exactly.
what I was gonna say. Is we'll get to our questions that we have for you, but I want to hear more if you don't mind. Let's go now to part two of, I guess, not the recruitment, but take us now from when you said, okay, I don't have any regrets. Texas was great, but I want to move on. It's not the place for me. It's not working. Take us to how you ended up in Gainesville.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, obviously, like Texas, it was really hard for me to leave because I had been there for 2.5 years. I had built, really strong relationships,
Of
and
course.
so, like, I remember just sitting on my bed, like in my dorm room, just like sitting there in tears, like thinking, "Dude, is this like, can I do this? Like, do I have the heart and the balls to do this?" Because
Yeah.
that's a leap of faith. So I made sure, like, if I wasn't gonna come to Florida, I was just gonna tough it out at Texas,
Okay.
because I wasn't gonna leave Texas to go anywhere else. I wanted to come to Florida. So, yeah, I called my brother because he was committed to Texas at the time, and I was like, hey, like, should we move to Florida? Like, should we make that move to Florida? He was like, I'm with it if you are, and I'm like, because we want to play together. We want to play
You guys
together.
are close.
Yeah, he's my roommate now, so
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
we made some calls, and we were able to get on a visit and stuff. So, it was just it I did a lot of reflection in that time, because we played. I think it was like October when I put my it was the day before Halloween. I put my name in the transfer portal. It might have been on Halloween, because I we had just played TCU, and we were ranked in the top 15, and TCU was unranked, and they brought in he was a freshman quarterback, and beat us. And
Oof.
it was in Fort Worth. TCU stormed the field. I remember sitting on the bench, and the student section at TCU, it's right behind the visitors bench.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember students jumping over the bench, and I'm like sitting here, and like like with my hands over my face. And that was the moment when I knew. I said, I get this is the most, like, humiliating feeling. I can never, like, I can't do this
I hear you.
anymore.
Now, I'll let Matt go because I'm talking too much. But I have a question. When you said you made some calls, were these? And don't mind. Hope you don't mind me asking. Were these calls to your cousins, Marquise and Mike Pouncey?
Nah, nah. I mean, I kind of just called my brother and then one of my mentors from high school.
Okay. Are you close with them? Because I have here in my notes that you guys are cousins. And Matt, if you're not familiar, Jordan's cousins played for the Steelers and Dolphins
Am
in
I
the
not
NFL.
familiar with the Pounceys? You just asked that. Come on.
Well, I know you are. It was for some of the viewers, really. But anyway, so and obviously they're national champions from the University of Florida. So I was wondering, did they play any role in your decision?
No, I wouldn't say. I talked to him a few times when I like in my first recruitment process, but I haven't really spoken to him since then. We're not close. They're kind of like the Pouncey side of the family is very, very big.
Okay,
So, it's I don't I never met him in person. My dad met him once. So it's just like we have like a really big family. We know that we're related, but I never met him.
gotcha. Matt,
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about this. My best friend and former roommate, he's a huge Florida fan. He won't shut up about how much he loves quarterback whisperer Dan Mullen. What is it like to work with a coach like that? This is just me kind of fulfilling my own need here by asking this, but what is it like to work with a coach like a Dan Mullen kind of guy, like this legendary guy?
Excuse me. Well, as an offensive player, it definitely I like it because you know some head coaches, they're very defensive oriented, which it's very important to have a good defense. But playing with a coach who wants to throw the ball around, like it's a lot of fun because you get to learn so much more about football as an offensive player, which I love because I'm
Yeah.
interested in coaching one
You
day.
don't give a crap about defense.
Yeah, I just run past them. I don't care what they do. But yeah,
Exactly.
it's a very interesting. Like I'm like a sponge. I love learning about football. So like everything he has to say, like I listen. And he has some pretty interesting things to say. And it's like it's insane, watching him work with our quarterbacks. Like especially like with Kyle. How he never started a game in high school, and you know wasn't expected to play at Florida, but then Felipe broke his ankle, and came in and you know took led Florida to New Year's Six bowl, and then the same year, like the next year, led us to New Year's Six bowl again.
Yep.
So like
Absolutely.
you know, that's large in part to Kyle, but it also helps with Coach Mullen.
Yeah, it's
Putting
just
putting Kyle in good positions.
absolutely. I've always wanted to pick the brain of some of these coaches, and I'm jealous the position that you guys get to be in, to like sit there and listen to them and just be like, oh, okay, I never thought of it like that. All right.
Yeah, head coaching.
Um, you know, oh, sorry to interrupt you, Jordan, but I have a question, just really quick, and be honest. I know you're probably gonna have to say Florida, but a rockin' house Saturday night under the lights, Texas or UF?
I don't like. It
or,
depends.
or
Like we played my junior year, the year that LSU won the national championship. Joe Burrow and the Bayou Bengals came to Austin, and DKR holds it can hold up to like 101,000.
I remember that. I know the game you're talking about.
Yeah, we almost beat them. We lost by like a touchdown or something like that. I can't remember the exact score. But we
You
almost.
should, you guys should have won. I agree, and I'm not just saying that. I remember the game to a T because we on this podcast we do talk a little bit about gambling, and I know you're not allowed to, but I had you guys in that game. I had Texas with the spread and to win, and boy, I was on the right side and I lost. Texas played their asses off that day, and they had them. They really did. But I mean, I'll let you elaborate on it. But you guys had them.
Yeah, I I don't really remember too much from that game. Um, it was a fun game to play in, and I remember that. But yeah, we just came up short. It was kind of a trend for the season, but uh, that game was loud. I remember the year before my sophomore year when we lost to West Virginia at home when Will Greer, ran in that 2 point conversion.
Oof.
That was loud. But I mean, I've only been at Florida for COVID, so we had
Oh
17.
yeah.
I can remember I came to a Florida game my freshman year of high school when we played Kentucky and it went into like triple overtime. I remember that was a loud game.
Okay.
And then I came to the FSU game in 2019, like on an unofficial visit
Mm-hmm.
because I was home for Thanksgiving. And that, like, I mean, that was FSU is they weren't that good that season, but that game was still rocking.
Yeah.
Even though we blew them out, like that game, like Florida fans show out. If it's one thing about Gator Nation, they show out. So I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for this season. We're going to be selling out probably every game because everybody wants to come to the games because they didn't get to go last year. So it's I mean, any Power Five, well, not any Power Five school. Most Power Five schools, if it's a good game, like we play Alabama at home this year, that game's probably going to sell out, and it's going to.
I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be there for week 3.
Yeah, and then like in 2019 when we played Auburn, like they said that was the loudest they had ever heard any stadium ever. Like
Wow.
Against Auburn of all teams, man, they're so bad. Why would you sell? Why would you be the loudest against them? Gosh.
We're Alabama guys, Jordan. If you haven't noticed. um,
That was like a top five matchup, I think.
we both attended the University of Alabama. I'm out of New York now. Matt is still in Alabama.
In Tuscaloosa as we speak.
But Jordan, we'll stop talking about Texas. I know it's probably getting annoying. We'll focus on Florida, but I have one more question for you about Texas. Matt, who have I been telling you about in this upcoming draft?
God's sakes.
Who have I been telling you about
It's not
for months
upcoming anymore. It's already
on the radio?
It's not upcoming. The draft has already happened. This
Who on the
man
radio have I been telling you
cannot
about?
shut up about Sam Ellinger. He will
Listen,
not stop talking about how he swears on a stack of Bibles that Sam Ellinger is going to be the next thing in the NFL.
Jordan, can you, and you could break my heart here if you need to, can you tell me?
He's not
Can
going
you tell me about playing with Sam Ellinger, and tell me what he can do at the next level?
Well, I'll say this from playing with him. He's probably the most like fierce competitor I've ever been around. Like he's got like some shit to him that is like I've never seen. Like going like our freshman year, we're in Dallas playing Oklahoma. We're playing Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma Sooners. And this boy rolling out to the right, chucks the ball downfield, gets hit, smacks his head on the ground. Like we think he went unconscious. Gets back up, goes back in the game, and almost wins it for us. And then we come back in the next year in 2018 with Kyler Murray beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. Like he is a fierce competitor. He's a great leader. And he's smart with the football. I got nothing but respect for Sam. That's my guy. We came in together at Texas, and
awesome. Yeah, I'm high on him. Seems like nobody else in media is, but we'll see what happens. Matt gives me a lot of crap for it. He's not as high on him.
I give you a lot of crap because you don't stop talking about him. Anytime anyone breathes something that sounds like draft, it's always, oh, have you heard of Sam Ellinger? No. Yeah, I've heard of him. Of course I've heard of him.
I see a stronger arm Tebow. That's what I see. I see a better Tebow. I don't know. That's just what I see.
He does this, Jordan, every time, man. Every time he does this.
Like thick like that. Like he's like Tebow. Like
and he can move.
He's a big guy.
He just goes this man thick.
And he can move. Well, anyway, tell us, Jordan, this upcoming season, take us inside that Dan Mullen locker room, or at least for you guys as teammates. Take us inside what the message is for the team, what the expectations are. Just talk about some SEC Gator football.
Well, this is, I've only been with the program for like a year and a half, so I can only speak on my experience. But from what I've learned, through the culture is, the main goal every year is to win the East. Because if you win the East, you're in control of your own destiny.
Yes.
So, we want to obviously out tough everyone. We're not a bunch of pretty boys and stuff like that. We're gonna blue collar guys. We bring our lunch pail to work every day and we take care of business. So
absolutely.
I love the mentality. I love that mentality.
Yeah.
It's a punch in the clock, man.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah.
the message.
So I'm looking here, all right, and I went to the your 247 page, and I pulled up your offer page, and the number is 47. You had 47 offers. You got offered by like 90% of SEC schools, and the only ones I don't see on here are not good teams. What? How did that? So you got offers from Alabama, like you said, you got one from Tennessee, Florida, like you got Auburn, you got all these top schools, But then Kentucky didn't even bother trying. Was that the mentality where they were like, we're not gonna get this guy?
No, I did get offered by Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
it was.
okay, there it is. Yeah, my bad. It was Mississippi that was the one that was missing.
Yeah, I didn't get offered by Ole Miss or Mississippi State, um, or Arkansas. I didn't get offered by any like really any SEC team, SEC West teams except Auburn and Alabama. So.
Really? That's just shocking
And
to me.
LSU didn't offer me. That I'm salty about that one. Like, I knew like I probably wouldn't have gone to LSU, but like the fact that they didn't offer me, like the story behind it is so agitating. Like me and one of my coaches, like my offensive coordinator from high school, we drove from Winter Park to Baton Rouge. Like they rolled out the red carpet for me. Like they made it seem like I was about to get offered that day. Like they took me around tour. I met with Coach Miles. Like all like everything. I did the camp, and this was when like me and Miles Brennan were in the same class, and so like we're doing one-on-ones and stuff. I'm going with Miles every rep, and we're dotting kids up, and Damian Craig, he was the receivers coach at the time. We go to his office. Me and my coach were sitting there, and so I was like, "So how do you think I did today?" He was like, "Oh, you did really good. Thanks for coming." And I'm like, this at this point, I have like 30 offers. I'm like,
Did you just do this?
Yeah, right.
I just drove to Louisiana. So I mean, like, I, I'm thankful for the experience to go to LSU. Just to say, I gave it my all, and I guess it just wasn't enough for him. So
You don't really believe that if they had offered you, you were gonna go there anyway.
every offer I got, I seriously considered.
Okay.
So, I mean, I love the actual state of Louisiana. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, did you? You don't have to pander to us, but did you strongly consider Alabama? Was that somewhere you were thinking about going for a while, or not really? Are you not a big Saban guy?
I have the utmost respect for Coach Saban, of course, but I think he was like trying to recruit me as a DB, and I don't really like playing defense.
Really?
Yeah, he told me he saw first round draft pick potential in me as a corner, and I was like, that's a hard bargain to argue. But I love playing receiver, and I just cannot. I feel like I would be unhappy playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, you stuck with your heart. No one can blame you for that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's funny because I went through the whole camp as a receiver, and then after he came, like him and somebody else came up to me, and they're like, "Well, can you work out for us as a DB just real quick? I want to take you through some drills." So like Saban literally just took me through individual, like, and I'm like, I mean, I did. I'm an athletic person, so like I did kind of good. He was like, you know, that's what we need. And I'm
That's
like,
what.
He said, no, I don't want it.
I'm so sorry, coach. Like, I know you're probably right, but I want to be like a receiver. So
Did you say that to Nick Saban on the spot, or did you kind of like wait till you left and then like told him on the phone that you're a wide receiver?
I can't remember. I probably told him to his face. I can't.
That's a cool moment. Telling Nick Saban, no, I'm a wideout. Get out of my face.
Oh, it didn't. It was more respectful than that. I was,
Of course.
thank you for your time, coach. I appreciate it. But yeah, in Alabama, I don't know. I didn't really like the city of Tuscaloosa.
That's
I
fair.
hear you.
It's not always charming to some people.
Yeah, I
It's a preference.
yeah. Like I have friends that go there, like they love it. But I'm sure it would have grew on me. But like my initial, because I only went one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my initial thought was just and it was Alabama. Like growing up in Florida, I had never really like been out of the state of Florida. So like going to like those schools in the South, like schools in Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi and stuff like that. It's just like
So different.
it's way different. So I think that's like I knew I kind of like wanted to be in the city.
I hear you, man. I'm from New York, and obviously, I'm not a college football player, but just going to school in Alabama was a complete culture shock to me.
Yeah, like very like even for me, like, what is what is this place, man?
Now, you didn't get that feel in Texas, though.
No, like I said, it's it's so funny that you say that because I remember getting on the plane to go to Austin. It was the first time I'd ever been to Texas. I don't know why, and this was such an irrational thought, but I thought I was gonna get off the plane and every road was gonna be dirt roads, and everybody was gonna be in cowboy hats and spurs, riding horses, and I was gonna
Mhm.
see a tumbleweed tumble across the road. I don't know why I thought of that, but when I got off
Oh man.
and like we were driving like this, the Austin airport is a little bit outside of the city. But, like we drove through the city, I was like, holy cow, this is a lot like Orlando. I can get used to this.
Hmm. I heard Austin is it's like it's like a little city, a little nice.
Little.
It's
Well,
not, it's not.
Austin's huge.
well,
It's
I'm from New York, but
it's growing so fast.
Mm.
It's a lot. Like even from the time that I got there to now, it's probably doubled in size. It's so big.
It's
that's
massive.
awesome.
And to be fair, you did go to the worst possible city in Texas to assume people were going to be wearing cowboy hats and walking around on dust roads.
Yeah,
Austin, I've heard, is like the estranged child or whatever you call it of Texas, where it's like you've got Houston, you've got Dallas, you've got all these places, then you have Austin.
yeah.
It
I
stands
love
out.
it's like it's a great place for like young people.
Yeah, I've heard. So we've talked about places you love. Let's talk about some places you hate. What is?
Hold on. Go ahead. I'm putting myself on mute for a second.
Is that Italian music? He's from New York. Sorry. Yeah. So we've talked about places you love. Where is it? What college do you just hate now? You can take your time on this one. There's no need to rush it because I understand this can be a hard question to answer.
Probably. Well, I mean, because I played at Texas, like I really don't like Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, and then like I don't like playing in Texas. Like everybody hates you, you know. So like even though we never played Texas
I'm
A&M,
back.
like we would still see them, like see like, because I mean, College Station and Austin are only like an hour apart from each other. So like, I remember I went to visit College Station one time to visit one of my buddies, and I'm walking down the street, like the main street in front of Northgate, with like a burnt orange hoodie, and people are like honking at me and flicking me off and stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And, yeah, so that you know that will always be a school that I don't like. And then TCU
Because of that moment you had.
because of TCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's understandable. I figured that since you were in Gainesville, you would hate Georgia a little bit. How do you feel about Athens?
I've been twice. I don't really remember it that much. It's pretty. I mean, like
It's whatever.
I think that's all I can say is that it's pretty.
All right, so let's see. How do you feel about the new Big Ten rule that's come out about how it's like horns down is now a penalty?
Oh, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. Like my mom said it's about time. How did that like that one of that is so frustrating. Like as a Texas football player, like that's like flicking me off, man. Like that's the worst thing you could do to me. But like even now, like when people ask me like, do you put the horns down now? I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
We don't do that.
That's the
So
thing. You got love for Texas still. That doesn't just go away because you left. That's not how that works.
So I mean, like I'm glad that they finally put that rule in because I can't tell you how many times, you know, people have come, people would like came into Austin and did that on our field, and it's like, if we did something like that, like we would have got like fined or something.
Yeah. No, I got you. That's just like it's such a like a weird thing to me because like, Alabama doesn't have any hand signs you do. Like,
Yeah,
it's cultural for Texans to do this.
yeah.
And then, it's the official wording that the Big Ten commissioner gave off was that walking up and doing the horns down signal to a Texas player would probably be a penalty, and doing it to a fan might not. So they're putting in rules now, and I'm this is interesting. I don't have we seen anything like this in college before? Do you think, where it's like that kind of just a hand gesture that outside of the realm of football and college means next to nothing relatively, obviously, but like, have we seen anything like that before? Do you think?
The only instance I can think of is, have you ever seen the 30 for 30, the documentary?
No, I
Yes.
haven't.
What?
I
Matt. Oh, come on,
stop,
Matt.
stop. Listen, I spent high school on an island. Okay, I didn't have any streaming services. We had no TV, so
Watch it right after this because
It's
that like
one of the
they
best ones.
yeah, before Miami in the '80s when they had Michael Irvin and all that. Miami they weren't good. Like they even thought about shutting down the football program, and like everybody was blue collar, and nobody did anything wrong. But then when they brought in all those boys from South Florida, they started doing touchdown dances and this and all that stuff. And so it was like after them they started putting in rules to where you can't do that, and they tightened down on you know celebrations and stuff.
that's really cool. I
Yeah.
actually, wow,
Yeah.
I do need to watch that.
Sorry, guys. I had some camera problems. Some I had to fix, but you do have to watch that, Matt. That's bad.
Listen, oh, I'm telling you, look, it was on Kwajalein. I was on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That's where I went to high school. We had no internet. Like, what we had internet. It was high speed. We had like a 3 megabit per second download speed. It's ridiculously slow. Like, I couldn't do anything. All right.
All right. Well, whatever. Jordan, we're not gonna keep you too long. Don't worry. But I just wanted to ask you about something. And don't have to call anyone out. It's over.
No, no.
It happened.
Oh,
It's
no.
over. It happened. Not mad anymore. But there was a game last year, and I had a decent amount on Florida, on the Florida Gators.
Degenerate.
It's okay. I had Florida, and the game was looking very good in hand against LSU. And
I knew that's where you were going with it.
and all of a sudden, there's a big stop on third down. Yep. And me and my friend look at each other and we go, "Is that a flag?" And it wasn't a flag. And my friend goes, "I think he just threw his shoe." And then a flag came across the screen. We put our hands on our head.
Surrender,
We're-
Cobra.
We're staring at the TV. We're praying that the refs just pick up the flag. And there it was, a 15-yard penalty for throwing the opponent's cleat on a celebration. 15 yards, automatic first down, got into field goal range, blah, blah, blah. Rest is history. Can you talk about that game? Because just, if you don't mind, and I know you're probably friends with the player or whatever, there's a lot of people who watch the show and were interested in that game, if you will, for whatever reason, that are a little upset about it. So if you could touch on that and what that was like.
I kind of had the same reaction you did. I remember seeing like the well, I remember seeing something fly in the air. I was like, that's weird. And then I thought one of our linebackers had committed the penalty, I thought he like face masked or something. I was like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
But then I look up at the video board and I see, I see somebody throw a cleat, and I'm like, if it, like the whole game itself was just eerie. Like halfway through the third quarter, a large, like a deep fog rolled over the stadium. So
Oh,
like it was like a really weird night, but that kind of just put the icing on the cake. And I remember like sitting
yeah.
there, we were all sitting there in shock. But
Shock.
at that moment, the game wasn't over.
Absolutely not.
It was, I love Evan to death, but when he missed that field goal, we would have had a chance in overtime.
Yes.
But with him missing that field goal,
It was a deep field goal. It wasn't an easy kick by any means. But like you said, if there's a guy to hit it, it was Evan McPherson.
yeah.
Because the guy's got a boot. But yeah, that was just one of those. And I follow the SEC closely, but that game, not to bring it up, that game was really like the moment for me, like the SEC kind of game of the year. That was like that wow moment, like oh man, like that was tough to swallow.
Oh yeah, I think it.
Um, and again, not to if you're if you're buddies with the guy, you don't have to say too much or whatever. But what was it like in the locker room after, like with Coach Mullen and with you guys? I mean, what was it like? Can you walk us through a situation like that?
Honestly, I remember when after we finished singing the fight song, I walked up in the stands and I just started crying in my mom's arms. Like, there's no way that this just happened. Like,
I hear you.
so I kind of like blacked that part out of my mind.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
went home and my brother, I have a 13-year-old brother, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "If you guys lose, I get to shave your head." And I was like, "All right, like we're gonna beat the hell out of him, whatever." So we get home, like we get back to my apartment, and he's all smiling, and I'm like, "Get out of my face, man! We just lost."
Sitting there with scissors.
Yeah, sure enough, I had to shave the victory mustache, and then he shaved my whole head, and he's sitting there laughing the whole time.
Oh, you stuck to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man of your word.
I'm a man of my word. So, yeah, it was an interesting feeling, but what was so critical about that game, whether we won or lost, we were still going to Atlanta. So
Yeah.
you know, what happened in Atlanta, but I think if we would have won that game, the season would have been a little bit different.
I do too. And Matt might get mad at me and my viewers from Alabama might get mad at me, but I happen to agree with you. When that game was lost, that being your second loss of the season, the feeling was just completely different going into the Alabama game. Um, I I really do believe, and I'm not supposed to say this because I'm an Alabama guy, but I really do believe the first half of that Florida Alabama game would have been completely different had you guys held on to that LSU game. Because and you can tell me more about it because I wasn't there, but I felt like just as a media guy, the week of practice, just getting up for the game, preparation, it would have been so different and so much more precise had you guys known, okay, we have a shot for the college football playoffs.
Yeah, like I remember when it was like my sophomore year at Texas. Coach Herman used to say, "Momentum is an illusion. Don't let it fool you."
Yep.
And I respect Coach Herman, but I completely disagree with that statement.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think momentum is, especially in college football, because we're not professionals, but like we're very emotional beings.
Yes.
Momentum is a real thing. Like I think if we would have had momentum going into the SEC championship, like we would have came out firing because, you know,
No,
it's a very, very interesting concept.
we talk all the time on this show. Me and Matt, I already know. I could speak for him. We agree with you. We think momentum is one of the biggest things in
It's
football.
huge. It's
It's
big in every sport, man.
it is, but in college football, to Jordan's point, it's completely elevated. You know, just
Yeah.
week to week. So it. I mean, listen, it's one of those things like college football. Let's face it, you lose twice, you're screwed. You know, so momentum is huge, obviously, when you're riding a hot streak. Yeah.
Some people,
Huge with with a Y.
Well, I'm from New York. What do you want? But
So yeah, all right, here, and let me just butt in here. I had a question. So this one's a little bit less serious. So let's get our smiles back out here. You mentioned a victory mustache. Can you take me through this victory mustache you speak of?
so I I was like I didn't get cleared by the NCAA like for immediate eligibility. I didn't get cleared until after the Texas A&M game, and we lost that Texas A&M game, and I was like clean shaven at that point, I think. And then we had like the corona outbreak, so we had 2 weeks off, and yep. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. I flew out to Texas to see at the time my girlfriend, and then I was with her for 2 weeks, and we had went to my buddy's lake house in Austin. And usually when I go to the lake, I shave a mustache just to like kind of be cool or whatever. And then when I got back, I kind of just stuck with it. I was like, hey, I'm actually kind of growing a good mustache here. So then we came back, we played Missouri, won, played Arkansas, won, and I was like, I gotta keep this mustache thing going. So I kept shaving the mustache until we played, until we lost to LSU. I kept having the mustache until we played LSU and lost.
Hey man, that's pretty cool. I like that because you don't know this actually, but for a little bit there, I was also rocking a mustache about a month ago. So living it up, man. I like it,
Yeah.
Stash Bro.
I had one for the spring too. Like after the season, and we did pretty well when I was wearing the mustache. I wore one for the spring. I had like the best spring I've ever had.
So what you're saying is the stash is gonna stay. It's coming back for the next year.
My mom is advising me against it, but I might have to overrule her on this one.
Here's the
Might have
thing.
to.
Here's the thing. All right, it's like momentum. Okay, juju is something in sports, right? You know what I'm
So
talking about.
real. It is the realest thing I've
It's
ever.
so real. My friend. So I have a friend. He played college ball. Transferred around a couple times. Didn't have much success there. But in high school, he actually ended up setting records in the state during his junior year. At the back half of his junior year, he caught fire from three. He played basketball. His parents did not let him get a haircut. They didn't let him shave. I mean, he couldn't grow any facial hair at the time, so it didn't matter. But he couldn't do it. Like, his parents wouldn't let him do anything at all. They said, we will buy you Chick-fil-A before every game because that's what you had before that one game where you hit 8 threes. And so he kept it that way. And then for the rest of the season, he shot like 50% from three. Juju is such a real thing in sports, dude. Get the mustache back.
Well, how did it work off the field with the ladies?
Chicks dig the stash, Nick. You know this. Chicks dig the stash.
Because I mean, I'm sure Jordan loves football as much as the next guy, but there's other components to growing a big mustache.
Chicks dig the stash.
It's fun.
So I'm guessing it worked just fine. Oh man.
Did you see that, Don?
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jordan, I gotta ask you something. Barstool, Florida, posted a video yesterday of you, and it was pretty funny. You guys, you guys looked like. Do you know what video I'm talking about?
The one of me dancing.
Yes, the one of you dancing. You guys were getting hyped. What was that? Just like a media day? What
Yeah, we
what
had,
was?
picture day or media day or whatever.
Oh,
So,
okay.
we like got to take pictures and stuff.
Okay.
I cannot wait for those pictures to come out because I brought my cowboy hat for some of them, and oh, it's gonna be they're gonna be so good.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was watching, and I was like, there was like, there was this dude dancing, going crazy. I was like, wait a minute, I think that's the guy we're having on the show this tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that was funny. But who I have a question. You played a lot of places, and it sounds like you've played with a lot of great quarterbacks. What guy, not necessarily the best, not to disrespect anyone, but what guy did you just click with? It could be at the high school level, college. Was there ever a quarterback you just clicked with and you knew it doesn't matter what happens? We have a connection where I'm going to get open and he's going to hit me. What quarterback was that to you throughout your career?
Probably my senior year. Um, my senior year of high school, we had a quarterback in my district that went to a private school, but like going into my senior year, I got him to transfer to Winter Park because I like we grew up together. He was a year older than me, but then he like reclassed for like he was a baseball player. He like reclassed for baseball, and then was like I don't like baseball anymore, so he started playing quarterback. And like when we went to like elementary school and middle school together, and like I knew who he was, but I didn't really talk to him that much. We weren't really friends.
Yeah.
But then going into my senior year, we were the same grade, and my head coach was like, he needs to come to our school. So he lived in our district anyway. So like I was just like, hey man, like I recruited the hell out of him. I was like, bro, we gotta link back up. Like it's gonna be awesome senior year. Like and he was at the time he was committed to South Dakota State,
Okay.
and so we like he I don't know what happened, but like he didn't end up playing a lot our senior year. But like I still clicked with him, and like when he got in the game, like we moved the ball down the field very
Gotcha.
effectively. He went to South Dakota State, didn't really work out for him. He went JUCO, San Francisco City College. He was in the last season of Last Chance U. Like
Okay.
they followed Laney College when they played City College, San Francisco. He's in that episode. Like
I'm going to check that out.
yeah, and now he got picked up by Oklahoma State. He plays at Oklahoma State now. His name's Ethan Bullock.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome. So he did make it.
he's a bounce back.
Yeah.
That's my
So
guy. Man. That. I love him to death. That's my brother for life. And then another one, like obviously, like I didn't really play that much at Texas, so like I didn't take like a lot of reps with Sam. But our backup, Casey Thompson, who I think he'll probably start this year.
yeah, he's projected to.
Yeah, me and Casey were like I think like in one of our fall camp practice. It was a fall camp or spring. He threw me like 3 touchdown passes in one practice, like in team, not even like in team. Like we always knew. Like, wait, there was this one play we ran. If it was cover two, like I was gonna score every time. So I would just look at him and be like, "Hey," and just take off down the field. Yeah, I miss Casey, Lil Thurm. That's my guy, man. I miss
Well, what
That's when you look to the side and you just do.
Yeah.
what's your role looking to be this year? Are you looking to be a slot guy? Do you like the sideline? What do you prefer?
I think first and foremost, I want to start on all 4 special teams. That's my first goal, really.
Okay.
'Cause I think if you start on all 4 special teams, really the rest will take care of itself. So like, I mean, I really this past spring I played every position and I had like touchdowns from every position. So I think I really just want to get in where I fit in. Like I don't really care about where I play. I just want to be hoisting up that trophy.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'll throw it back to Matt, but special teams, do you like I guess I think I know the answer, but do you like kickoff? You like popping people? Is that what you're referring to, or do you like the receiving end of special teams?
I mean, kickoff's fun, but like my favorite was always punt return
Okay.
because two things. If you can get a good return on punt return, it gets the stadium going.
Mm-hmm.
You can score on punt return, your chances of winning the game increase by like over 90%.
Yeah.
Good lord.
And on the other side of that coin, on punt return, if you can block a punt, I think your chance of winning is like 97%.
Good gosh.
So I I I I love punt return because it's probably the most challenging. Like returns are always so much harder than like kickoffs and punts. So
Yes.
I I always like enjoy the challenge, and punt return is probably my favorite because
Are you looking to be the returner?
oh no man, I like putting my hands on people.
I got you.
Yeah, I like pushing people into the Gatorade coolers, you know.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
So are you like, so do you play? So, I don't know if we just addressed this or not. I'm sorry. I was looking up. I was looking up Ethan. But do you get to play on coverage on the punts? So like, do you get to play as a gunner?
Uh, I play like the left side, so I play like left guard and left tackle. Those are like my two.
Okay, I gotcha. See, that's
Yeah.
just so cool to me. Like I love that stuff. And they always say that the best teams, like the truly good dynasties in the NFL, are built off of a great special teams play. If you look at the Patriots, that's how they started. And then if you look at the Dolphins, that's how they're trying to start right now. They've got incredible special teamers, and then now they're starting to build up. So I like it, man. I love the role.
It's very very true. Very true.
So here's one thing I have for you. You have scored a touchdown in a D1 Power 5 collegiate football game, bowl game, however you want to say it to make it sound as cool as it is, right? What is that feeling like? To catch a ball, two hands on the ball, inside of pay dirt at that level. What does that feel like, man?
Well, first of all, I didn't catch that pass with my hands. I was so nervous. I caught it like the ball felt like it was in the air for like an eternity. I was like, oh my god, please get here, please get here.
And it felt like a bowling ball when it finally got to you.
It was like I don't even know how to explain it because it was my first touchdown. It felt like 4 years of hard work. 4 years of hard work all came to one moment. The last game of my fourth year, like it was like the most amazing feeling. And I had dealt with so much last season, like I, it just felt like I cried. Like I remember like I caught it. I took two steps back and I looked up at the jumbotron and I was rock. And like I just stood there like my teammates were like running at me trying to celebrate with me and I did not move. I was looking up at the jumbotron. I'm like I'm on the jumbotron right now.
Yeah, you were in the jumbotron, in the end zone with the ball. You just scored. That's so cool.
It's my first thought. I thought of my because during the season he passed away. So like I remember like kissing the ball. That was the first thing. I would just say. That was.
It's one of those moments, right?
And then the next thing I did, I like walked. I jogged off the field, and the first person I tried to find was my little brother. And I just gave him a hug, just like fighting back tears.
Yeah.
Because this is what we always dreamed about. Like this is the moment, you know. So like that was such a special moment for me. And like my mom was there, and my girlfriend at the time was there, and like they were crying, and it was just like it was such a crazy moment for all of us.
I hear you. That is a crazy moment, but it's a great moment. It's something you'll remember forever. Now, how many times did you? And be honest, how many times did you go back and watch that on the rerun on TV?
Oh, since I didn't really get to well, I didn't get to see it on TV. I went and watched it uh, like one of the I think they like uploaded it to YouTube or something, and I went back and watched it probably a couple times. I don't like it's on my Instagram page, so if I ever get bored, I'll just go look at it.
Gotcha. So yeah, at least you're good. I would have watched it 100 times.
What was really cool about like scoring that touchdown was that I got to do media after the game, and that was like the biggest dream come true because I love doing media. Like I got to sit in the press conference room and they asked me questions. That was like a surreal moment for me too.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I mean, like all that stuff was fun, but I would much rather have won the game. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of guys not playing, so
That's what me and Matt we always prep our shows, and we talked about the game. And what did I tell you, Matt? I said that score was very deceiving. That wasn't Florida's actual team out there.
Yeah. Look, it is what it is. I'm watching the highlight right now on your Instagram. I went and pulled it up. I love it. You weren't kidding. You said.
I told you, I was so. It was so weird. As soon as I saw our coach signal in the play, I said, "I'm scoring on this play," and we lined up. And I saw safety on the hash, backside safety on the other hash.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "No freaking way! Stop!" Like I was like, "Please stop joking with me right now." And I remember I was just like, "Oh!" It opened up like Moses parted the Red Sea, and I was like, "Touchdown!" Like, oh, it was so cool.
Hey, there'll be more to come this year, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, man, you got me watching Florida football now. I'm excited.
It's a good football team to watch. I'll tell you that.
All right. I don't know if we can physically keep you much longer than this. We're sorry we've taken up too much of your day, man.
No, it's all good. It's Friday.
That's fair.
Jordan, thank you so much, Jordan, for coming on.
Hold up. I got one more thing.
One more question. Okay.
All right, Jordan. You got one message that you can give to Florida fans out there. What do you want to say?
We'll give you a minute.
Yeah,
here.
we can give you as much time as you need.
One message to give Gator Nation. I mean, we need y'all to fill the stadium every Saturday, and we gonna give y'all a show.
All right.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet. I like it.
Simple words. I like it.
Come pack out the swamp, and you're gonna see a show.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we'll see you. Before I close us out here, I will see you. I won't actually see you, but I will be there week 3. That game's gonna be intense. It's gonna be fun. Me and my buddies in Tuscaloosa have had this game circled for 2 years when they announced that we're going to Gainesville. This is gonna be a fun one.
It's two of America's top teams, man.
Absolutely. Yep. Great histories. But Jordan, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you. And I mean, your story is just it's awesome. I mean, for lack of a better term, your story was great. You were great. So thanks again for coming on. We wish you the most luck, not too much luck week 3, but we wish you just the utmost of luck this season and in your career, and obviously with Barstool Sports. You know, we think it's a great thing for you guys, and hopefully everything turns to gold and everything works out. So we wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you so much to Jordan Pouncey for coming on the show with us today. As always, this has been the Nick and Nash podcast with Nick Calvacca and myself, Matt Nash. And so, without any further ado, we bid you adieu. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.